Hey guys, it's Coach Damon. And as Zion Williamson has exploded onto the scene this year at Duke and will undoubtedly be the #1 overall pick in this year's NBA draft, we've started to get a lot of questions about how can I as an individual player jump like Zion? And while Zion has some characteristics at 6'7", 285 that you're not going to be able to emulate, his ability to transfer momentum from horizontal to vertical and his jumping style is something that we can emulate. So today we've got a special guest coach who's going to bring you through several exercises where you can try to emulate Zion Williamson's jumping style. Coach Zabo, who's our guest coach today, is one of the premier young strength and conditioning coaches here in the Mid-Atlantic. He's worked with players who are currently at the Division I level playing both football and basketball, and he's also worked with players who are in the NBA as well as the NFL. So when it comes to your strength, your conditioning, and your athletic performance, he's an expert in those fields. So when we were trying to find somebody who can teach you how to jump like Zion, he was the first person that we went to.
Hey everybody, I'm Coach Zabo. Like Damon alluded to, we're going to talk about how to jump like Zion Williamson. And what we do have to realize is his athleticism is something that's been unparalleled up to this point, but what we can do is talk about some drills that'll help you mimic his style in translating those jumps. The few things we're going to talk about is his strength to absorb force and then redirect that force into the air, and his elasticity at the ankle joint that allows him to repeat jumps quickly off the ground. So the first thing we're going to focus on is the strength that he displays on the court. So what we're going to show is an eccentric squat. And eccentric just means moving downward slowly into that bottom position and then exploding up. So if we're going to start body weight, we'll have our arms out in front. You're going to break at the hips first with our feet about shoulder width apart, knees drive out, and we're going to go down for a 5 count. So we're going to go down for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll stand up. On these reps, we want to find a depth that's about parallel. That means the top of your thigh is parallel with the ground, and that depth allows us to keep our joints healthy, but it really activates our hamstring with the lower that we go. So again, we'll show it again. We're going to go down for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and we're going to stand up explosively every rep. Start body weight. And then once you work up to having a dumbbell in your hand would be the next progression, and then eventually to a barbell, you can work up to 6 repetitions of the 5 seconds down and then exploding back up. If you're doing it at home or if you don't have any weights, stick with body weight, but go for 10 repetitions, and you can throw a backpack on if you don't have any weights as well. After talking about the eccentric squats, that's teaching us to absorb force when we're loading up for that jump, now we're going to talk about how to transfer that force. So what we're going to do is we're going to drop into the bottom of our squat, and we're going to drop into it quickly. We're going to drop, hold for 1, 2, 3, and then jump up, push everything into the ground forcefully. We want to land nice and soft, reset, and we're going to do it again. We want to drop into it quickly, and then we're going to, after 3 count, go ahead and jump up. And we'll do 1 more rep and drop into it quickly and try to stop yourself as fast as you can. Good, 2, 3, jump. Good. And while we're down at the bottom of that squat, we want to try not to have any of our momentum dip back down when we go. We want to be right here and have everything transfer directly up. We're going to do those for 5 repetitions and landing softly each time. Next drill we're going to talk about is called a multi-leg approach. So what I see a lot in the young athletes is that they have one dominant leg and they always lead into their jump with their right leg or their left leg, depending on which one's dominant. Zion displays the ability to be able to jump off whichever leg is necessary or more efficient in that scenario to go up and get the ball. So all we're going to do is we're going to step into the jump with our dominant leg, take a jump, land soft, we'll take a step back, and then we're also going to alternate with the other leg. We'll do it one more time. Step in, straight up, land soft, hips back, middle of the foot. And the more coordinated we can get at using each leg, the more efficient we'll be when the time comes to go up and get the ball. Next drill we're going to talk about is called the arc skip. So it's not a skip for height, and it's not a skip for distance, it's a little bit of both. The reason that we're doing this is we're trying to create elasticity at our ankle joint so that we land, we can come up off of the ground quickly, spending minimal time on the ground, kind of like throwing a bouncy ball down at the ground. So it's just a skip like we're familiar with, however we're going to go for maximal height and distance on each repetition. So we'll start this way. Use your arms for power to get drive off the ground and try to spend as minimal time on the ground as possible. Good. We'll come back one more time and try to be quiet with your landing, come right off the ground, thinking bouncy ball that drops on the ground. Last drill we're going to talk about is a short jump, box jump. This piggybacks off the last drill where we're trying to create elasticity at that ankle joint to be able to come up off the ground quickly, spending minimal time on the ground. So what we're going to do is we're going to stand in front of a box or a bleacher if it's stable enough, and we're just going to take a short jump, try to get off the ground as quickly as possible, landing softly onto the box or the bench. Good. We're gonna do that again. We're trying to spend as minimal time on the ground when we land this first jump, put all of that power and energy into the air, land softly, go a little bit higher on that first jump. Great job. We'll try one more, making sure we're landing middle of the foot when we land on the box and being quiet on that middle jump as well. So here we go. One. Great job.
Now obviously Zion Williamson is a genetic freak when it comes to his size and his athleticism. So as you saw with each of Coach Szabo's exercises, it was about emulating the things you can. How he gets off the floor very quickly, the elasticity in his ankles. So while there are things about him and his athleticism that you can't emulate, these are things that you absolutely can. So if you take these exercises and you incorporate them into your workout, they may not help you get to his vertical right away, but they will help you jump like Zion.